In the United States, roughly 85% churches are experiencing either no growth or a decline in attendance. And one of the most common contributing factors is not theology, worship style, or location. It's conflict. Hi, I'm Jeremy Fulton, and in this video, we're going to look at how leaders can break the cycle of conflict that affects many churches today. Conflict itself isn't the enemy. Unmanaged conflict is. When conflict is ignored or mishandled, it creates a downward spiral that damages relationships, leadership credibility, and ultimately the mission of the church. Norman Shawchuck described what he calls the conflict cycle, a predictable pattern of 5 stages. And if this cycle is not interrupted, it often leads to painful and even destructive outcomes for the church. The good news is this: by understanding both the conflict cycle and the cycle of conflict management, leaders can eliminate or significantly reduce many conflicts, often before they fully develop. Stage 1 is tension development. All conflict begins as tension. Someone senses rightly or wrongly that something has changed. At this stage, tension can often be vague and hard to define, which is why it is so frequently ignored. But unresolved tension is the seedbed for conflict. Stage 2 is role dilemma. As tension continues, people begin asking questions. Who's responsible? What's my role? And what's really going on here? This confusion around roles, authority, and expectations creates anxiety. And when roles are unclear, people tend to fill in the gaps with assumptions. And assumptions often lead us in the wrong direction. Third stage is injustice collecting. This is the first truly dangerous stage. Here, people become convinced that the situation will only get worse. They begin to emotionally distance themselves from what they believe is an inevitable confrontation. At this point, individuals start collecting perceived injustices, keeping mental notes of past hurts, offenses, and disappointments to use later as ammunition. This is also the blaming stage. People justify their own attitudes and behaviors by focusing on the faults of the third party. The conflict becomes personal and the issue turns into an enemy. Unless the negative emotional energy here is addressed, the conflict will escalate. The fourth stage is confrontation. After injustice collecting has gone on too long, confrontation is inevitable. This confrontation can range from calmly clearing the air to aggressive verbal or even physical conflict. In unmanaged conflict, people confront each other. In well-managed conflict, they look at the issue. Stage 5 is adjustments. Adjustments are made to stop the conflict. When poorly managed, they lead to avoidance, power struggles, or a cold war. And if the adjustments do not adequately address the root issue of the conflict, tension develops again and the cycle repeats, often with greater intensity. Over time, this creates a downward spiral of dysfunction where reconciliation becomes increasingly difficult. The opposite of the conflict cycle is the cycle of conflict management. This cycle is designed to interrupt and reverse the conflict process and can be even used as a preventative tool, especially in the early stages. Stage 1 is tension diffused. Most conflict can be prevented at this stage. It's important to understand that some level of tension is normal and even healthy. In fact, tension can be used as a creative force when handled well. Healthy tension arises from diversity, different personalities, cultures, ideas, and perspective. Unhealthy tension often occurs when ideas or opinions are imposed on others. Leaders can diffuse tension in several ways: clarifying their vision, values, goals, and strategies, valuing diversity in culture, background, and personality, helping leadership teams understand personality and leadership styles, sharing information consistently and with transparency, and maintaining accessible feedback systems. When people feel informed, heard, and respected, tension is far less likely to turn into conflict. Stage 2 is roles defined. When tension is not immediately resolved, people begin questioning their role and the roles of others. People function best when expectations are clear. Clear role descriptions are essential, even for volunteer and lay positions. Stage 3 is justice dispersed. At this stage, leadership behavior is critical. Justice is intentionally dispersed by distinguishing between equality and fairness, demonstrating fairness consistently and making timely, well-communicated decisions, and also being quick to admit mistakes and make adjustments. Fair leadership builds trust, and admitting errors doesn't weaken leadership, it strengthens it and gives others permission to do the same. Stage 4 is collaboration. Collaboration is where the parties work together to resolve the issue. Confrontation can be a win-lose process, but collaboration should always aim for win-win. This requires involving all relevant parties, gathering all the relevant information without unnecessary distractions, and facilitating open, respectful discussion with no coercion or intimidation. People are far more likely to support a resolution when they feel valued and included. Stage 5, adjustments. Adjustments include both personal and organizational changes. Effective adjustments require clearly defining and documenting the changes, ensuring decisions are made collaboratively, communicating the outcomes to the organization when appropriate, and affirming people involved and the process itself. Conflict in the church is inevitable, but destruction is not. The conflict management cycle provides church leaders with a practical framework to prevent many conflicts, manage unavoidable conflict effectively, and protect unity, trust, and mission. Effective conflict mission is one of the most practical ways we demonstrate love for one another. As Jesus said in John 13:35, "Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples." Let's go forward and make the church something the world wants to be part of.